Farm, a fairy story by George Orwell. In the past, Mr. Jones, although a crewmaster, had been a capable farmer. But now, he spent more and more time in the Red Lion. Every night, he came home drunk.
His farm was now thoroughly neglected. The fields were full of weeds and the animals were underfed and in poor condition. One night, Mr. Jones came back drunk. He went up the stairs, undressed, and climbed unsteadily into bed.
Who made the cows and sheep so meek? Who feeds the cats and dogs their meat? Who's the loving father of fur and feather? Man! Ha 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 ha! Conscious man. Wonderful man.
As soon as the light was out, there was a stirring and a fluttering throughout the farm. Word had gone around the animals that there was to be a secret meeting in the big barn. Old Major, the 12-year-old stud boy, had something to say.
Comrades, what is the nature of this life of ours? We are given food to keep breath in our bodies and forced to work. Man is the real enemy we have. What then must we do? Comrades, rebellion. I don't know when the rebellion will come, but justice will be done. And remember, comrades, your resolution must never falter. Never listen to man because it all lies. Among us, animals, let there be a perfect unity, perfect comradeship in struggle. All men are enemies. All animals are comrades. Comrades, the wild creatures such as rats and rabbits, are they our friends or our enemies? Are they comrades? Wait, no, wait, or we'll wake up Jones. Listen carefully. For I do not think that I shall be with you for many months longer. I have little more to say. Whatever goes upon two legs is an enemy. Whatever goes upon four legs or has wings is a friend. No animal must sleep in a house, sleep in a bed, wear clothes, engage in trade. No animal must ever kill any animal. All animals are equal. Now, comrades, I will sing you a song which was sung by the animal of long ago. It is called Peace of England. Peace of England, peace of Ireland, peace of land and sea and sky. Hear the hoofbeats of tomorrow, see the golden future rise.
Peace of England, peace of Ireland, peace of land and sea and sky. Hear the hoofbeats of tomorrow, see the golden future rise.
They could sing it all night if they want to. Unfortunately, Mr. Jones woke up and fired his gun. Then the meeting broke up hurriedly and the whole farm was asleep in a moment.
3 nights later, Old Major died peacefully. Rebellion that predicted by Major began and the animals were preparing for it. The chores were divided. Pigs will be teaching and organizing. Several nights after Mr. Jones was asleep, they had several meetings about the principle of animalism. Some of them supported Mr. Jones because he feeds them. Then Molly came to Snowball and asked a question.
Will there still be sugar after the rebellion?
No, there won't be any sugar in its farm, as we do not need them. We will eat oats and cakes.
Am I allowed to wear a ribbon in my maize?
Comrade, those ribbons are the badge of slavery. Liberty is worth more than ribbons. Molly then agreed with Snowball. Now, the rebellion will be achieved earlier and more easily than expected.
On Saturday, Mr. Jones returned drunk from the village. He ignores the pleas of the animals and goes into the farmhouse.
Food! Where's our food? Give us our food!
On that evening, the animals were still unfed.
Food! Where's our food? Give us our food!
The animals stand longer, and one of the cow broke in the door of store shed with her horn. Then all the animals help themselves and eat anything eatable in the bin.
Mr. Jones woke up from his sleep. Whip in hand, he hid in all directions. In just seconds, the animal had decided. They found themselves upon their tormentor. Jones suddenly found himself being kicked from all sides. He had never seen animals behave like this before. After a moment, he ran away. The rebellion was over and Manor Farm was theirs.
Hooray! Hooray! No man!
No, master! All animals are equal!
No man! No master! All animals are equal!
The animals had their breakfast. Then Snowball, Squealer, and Napoleon called them to a meeting. The three, Snowball, Squealer, and Napoleon, had elaborated old Major's teaching into a complete system of thought to which they gave the name Animalism!
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 The pigs next explained that they had succeeded in reducing the principles of animalism to 7 commandments.
These are the 7 commandments. These are the unalterable laws of animal form. Number 1, two-legged beings are our enemies.
Our enemies!
Number 2, four-legged beings are allies and friends.
Allies and friends!
Number 3, all animals shall never wear any clothes.
Never wear clothes!
Number 4, animals shall never sleep in beds.
Never sleep in bed!
Number 5, all animals shall never drink alcohol.
No alcohol!
Number 6, animals shall never kill animals.
Never kill animals!
Last but not least, number 7, all animals are equal.
All animals are equal!
Now, comrades, we have a long day before us. Today, we will begin with the hay harvest. To the hay field!
To the hayfield!
But at this moment, the female cow who had seemed uneasy set up a loud cry. She had not been milked for 24 hours. Then the pig sent for bucket and milked the cows fairly.
What will happen to all that milk?
Never mind the milk, comrades. He will be tended to. The harvest is more important. Comrades know more lead the way. I shall follow in a few minutes. Follow, comrades. The hay is waiting.
When they came back in the evening, the milk had disappeared. Every day, it disappeared mysteriously.
Comrades, you do not imagine. I hope that we pigs are taking the milk. Many of us actually dislike milk. I dislike it myself. Our sole aim in mixing it in our mash is to preserve our health. Milk, this has been proved by science. Comrades, contains substances absolutely necessary to the well-being of pigs. We pigs are brain workers. The whole management and organization of this farm depends on us. Day and night, we are watching over welfare. It is for our sake that we drink the milk.
I propose the pig will be kept fat.
Agree!
Agree!
As animals, harvesting and keeping the harvest in check are not that easy, but their efforts were rewarded. Their success was bigger than they had hoped. The work was hard indeed. The pigs were so clever that they could think of a way if there is any problem. The horses knew every inch of the field and did a better job in mowing and raking, better than Jones. The pigs did not actually work but directed and supervised the others.
Giddy up, comrades! War back, comrades!
In the end, they finished the harvest in 2 days, way faster than Jones. Moreover, it was the biggest harvest that the farm had ever seen and there was no wastage at all. All through the summer went like clockwork. The animals were really happy with the results. Boxer was the admiration of everybody. He had been a hard worker even in Jones' time, but now he seemed more like 3 horses. He worked harder than anyone else.
I will work harder! I will work harder!
This was now his personal motto. It was much admired.
But there was no such thing as overwork ever happened in the farm. Nobody ever complained, stole anything, or even jealous with other animals except one, Molly. She would vanish from other side for hours and then reappear during mealtime or even in the evening when the work was over and act like nothing happened. But she was great in making good excuses that made everyone believe in it. Benjamin was the same even after the rebellion. When he was asked whether he was happier now or not, he said,
Donkeys live a long time. None of you guys ever has seen a dead donkey.
There was no work on Sundays. There was a ceremony which was observed every week without fail. After breakfast, Snowball found an old tablecloth and made a flag. He painted a hoof and a horn on it. This was run up by the flagstaff in the farmhouse garden every Sunday morning.
The green is to represent the green fields of England. The hoof and horn signify the future republic of the animals.
After the hoisting of the flag, all the animals gathered in the big barn for the General Assembly, or also known as the meeting. During the meeting, work of the coming weeks and resolutions were discussed and debated. It was always the pigs who had put forward the resolutions. The other animals understood how to vote, but they can't think of any resolutions. Snowball and Napoleon were the most active ones in the debates. These two could never agree on each other's opinions. The meeting always ended with the singing of Peace of England, and the afternoon was given up for free times.
had set aside the harness room as their headquarters for themselves. In the evenings, they studied necessary things such as carpentry. Snowball also busied himself with animal committees. He formed all types of committees for animals to make the work more easier and even teach them how to read. Although there were classes that failed, the reading and writing classes were a success.
As for the pigs, they could already read and write. Some of the animals could read, but some can't. The stupider animals, sheep and hen, were unable to learn the 7 commandments by heart. Then, Snowball declared that 7 commandments could reduce to a short saying.
The birds did not understand what Snowball said, but accepted somehow. All the humbler animals then set to work to learn new sayings by heart. The sayings can always be heard from the animals.
Repeat after me, please. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
4 legs good, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, 2 legs bad. 4 legs good, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, 2 legs bad.
4 legs good, 2 legs bad. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. 4 legs good.
By the summer, the news of what happened on Animal Farm had spread across half the country. Every day, Snowball and Napoleon sent out pigeons to tell the story about rebellion to neighboring farms. Most of this time, Mr. Jones had spent sitting in the tap room of the Red Lion at Willingdon, complaining to anyone what he had suffered. The other farmers did sympathize, but they did not at first give him much help. But some of them thought how to turn Jones' misfortune to their advantage. However, they were still afraid of the rebellion on Animal Farm.
Jones! Jones is coming!
Jones opened the 5-bar gate. He walked with a gun in his hand. He planned to take back the farm.
The attack had long been expected and everyone was prepared. Snowball had studied an old book of Julius Caesar's campaigns which he had found in the farmhouse. He gave his orders quickly and in a couple of minutes every animal was at his post.
This had long been expected and all the preparation had been made. Snowball was in charge of the defensive operations. The horses, the cows, and the rest of the pigs who are not in the barn emerged from their hiding places right now.
Charge!
Snowball charges straight for Jones. Jones raises his gun and fire. Snowball Jones lit and Jones is knocked over and his gun flies out of his hand.
Hooray! Hooray! Wait. Where's Molly?
Molly, in fact, was missing. For a moment, all of them were worried that Molly might have been harmed by the humans.
Hey, there she is!
However, she was found hiding in her stall with her head buried among the hay.
As the winter drew on, Molly became more and more troublesome. She was late for every morning and excused herself by saying that she had overslept and complained about mysterious pain, although her appetite was excellent. While Molly was flirting her long tail and chewing at a stalk of hay, Clover came to her.
Molly, I have something very serious to say to you. I saw you looking over the hedge that divides the farm from the foxwood. One of the men was
3 days later, Molly disappeared. Then, the pigeons reported that they had seen her on the other side of Willingdon. She appeared to be enjoying herself. Naturally, none of the animals ever mentioned Molly again.
In January, the weather was extremely hot. Many meetings were held in the pig barn. During one of the meetings, Snowball came up with the idea of building a windmill. He told all the animals everything he knew and what were the advantages. Napoleon was not really supportive though. There was a small hill, which was the highest point on the farm. Snowball had decided that this would be the place for the windmill, which would benefit all the animals later on.
The whole farm was deeply divided on the subject of windmill. Snowball did admit that this won't be easy, but Napoleon argued that what was important now was to increase food production and not wasting time doing windmill.
Put it to the vote! Put it to the vote! Comrades, we'll pass voting, comrades, when our stomachs are empty. I'm a plain pig, a practical pig, and I say this. What is important now is to increase the food production. If we waste our time building the windmill, will we starve to death?
Do you deny my idea?
Yes, I deny your idea.
The animals are furious. War was near. They no longer wanted to argue, they wanted to fight.
A vote for Snowball means food for the future.
A vote for Napoleon and end it now.
A vote for Snowball means food for the future.
A vote for Napoleon and end it now.
Think of the children. Think of your future. Think of the dignity of the animals when they are freed from harm. Do you vote for windmill?
Yes, we do. We vote for the windmill.
Suddenly, Napoleon utters a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. There is a loud noise of dogs baying and the silhouettes of 2 enormous black dogs appear in the barn behind the drawing of the windmill. With a yelp, they tear down the drawing and attack Snowball.
No!
He confronts them for a moment in terror and then runs away through the gate and out of the farm. He is pursued by the dogs. All animals are terrified. They watch as Snowball is chased away into the distance.
Snowball's gone!